Hey guys, Dr. Frank here, founder of AddictionMindset recovery coaching programs where we help people quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, and a whole host of other addictions. Be sure to subscribe and follow along. I make one video every day, Monday through Sunday, 365 days a week, dedicated to helping people struggling with addiction and those who are in recovery trying to achieve long-term sobriety. So be sure to subscribe. Now, in today's video, I want to take a brief moment and talk about the impact of nicotine when it comes to low back pain and when it comes to neck pain. And notice, I said nicotine. I didn't say vaping. I didn't say cigarettes. I didn't say tobacco. I didn't say chewing tobacco. I didn't say Zen pouches. I didn't say Nicorette gum. I didn't say nicotine patches. I didn't say nicotine toothpicks. I want to talk about the impact that nicotine alone, has on your spinal health, which can impact neck pain and can impact low back pain. So in order to understand that, we have to begin with a brief anatomy review of what your back looks like. So that's what I'm holding in my hand here. Right here, we have your spine. This is what your spine looks like from behind, okay? This is what I see when I look at someone's backside. Right here are your vertebrae. These are the bones in your neck. These are the bones in your lower back, your lumbar spine. In between each of your vertebrae, you have these disc spaces. These act as jelly donuts or shock absorbers. There's liquid material in these. Outside of each of your vertebrae, you have your nerves. They exit out of the left and the right sides of your vertebrae. So we have our bones, our vertebrae. We have our nerves, which are responsible for motor movements, the ability to move my arm. They're responsible for reflexes, and they're responsible for pain sensation, hot, cold, numbness, tingling. That's all from your nerves. And then we have these disc spaces. These act as shock absorbers or cushions. And you can think of these as jelly donuts. There's liquid material inside these disc spaces like a jelly donut. Now, we got a brief anatomy review there, so keep that in your mind. How does nicotine cause low back pain? How does nicotine cause neck pain? How does nicotine cause damage to our spine and our vertebrae, leading to back pain? Well, the answer is two parts. Part number one is nicotine is extremely inflammatory. Nicotine, once introduced to our body, produces systemic inflammation that flows throughout our whole body. So I'm not talking about inflammation from when you sprain your ankle and your ankle swells up. I'm talking about inflammation that travels through your blood, that travels to your brain, that travels to your joints, that travels from your head to your toes. Systemic, it impacts the entire system, systemic inflammation. Nicotine causes this because once introduced to our body, it produces something called AGEs, or advanced glycation end products. I think I said that correctly, but for short, they're called AGEs. Now, people often ask me, Dr. Frank, does nicotine age us? Does nicotine make us look older? And the answer is yes. Nicotine releases these things called AGEs, these inflammatory things that our body produces, and it's like your body rusting from the inside out. Imagine if you've ever seen a banana rust, or a car door rust, or a banana turn brown. That's because of an oxidation reaction that's occurring. And the same thing happens within our bodies when we use nicotine. It rots us from the inside out. And the reason for that is because it's an inflammatory thing. It also breaks down, FYI, nicotine destroys the collagen in your skin, which your skin will then lose that elasticity and you'll start to look older a lot sooner than you should, in a bad way, not like a good fake ID 21 type of way, like in a bad way. So, nicotine is inflammatory. It causes inflammation. Inflammation causes pain. Reason number two why nicotine causes low back pain and neck pain and joint pain is because of the decreased blood flow to our disc spaces, to the bones in our back. So nicotine decreases the blood flow to the disc spaces and to the bones in our back, our vertebrae. Now, this is bad for two really big reasons. When we have decreased blood flow to our disc spaces, these disc spaces will start to dehydrate. Imagine a jelly donut and all the jelly leaking out and the jelly donut dehydrating. When that happens, it speeds up the rate at which we're going to develop things like arthritis and neck pain or low back pain. That can also start to put pressure on the nerves in our back, which can cause numbness and tingling in our arms and our legs. So decreased blood flow to the disc spaces dehydrates the cushions in our spine because of nicotine, which can cause low back pain and neck pain. Thing number two, nicotine also decreases blood flow to our vertebrae. Now that's really important because when we have decreased blood flow to our vertebrae in our back, when nicotine decreases blood flow to the bones in our back, it makes them very fragile. It makes them easier to break, and it actually makes your bones less able to heal if, God forbid, they do break, or if, God forbid, you fall and you break your leg, or you break your back, or you're in a car accident. Nicotine slows down the healing process of your vertebrae, of your bones, because of decreased blood flow to those areas. A spine surgeon's worst nightmare is having to do surgery on a smoker or someone who uses nicotine, a vapor, a smoker, a dipper, whatever you want to call them, because nicotine will decrease the chances of a successful healing process following a fracture or following a surgery. Notice, it doesn't matter where you're getting your nicotine from. Nicotine will cause those problems. So decreased blood flow speeds up the rate, decreases the rate at which our bones heal, and it speeds up the rate at which you might start to develop something called osteoporosis or osteopenia as you get older. For all my athletes who use nicotine, nicotine is correlated with decreased bone density, so weak, fragile bones. That's really bad if you play football or you play a contact sport. Unfortunately, for my use and a few other things, I developed osteopenia and osteoporosis by the age of 30. Really sad, doesn't happen to anyone, but that's how nicotine impacted me. Now, that's important too because God forbid you are in a car accident, maybe you have fragile bones now, and your bones aren't going to heal as fast if they have to do surgery. Terrifying to think that. So nicotine causes back pain for two primary reasons: inflammation and decreased blood flow, which can lead to decreased disc space height. It can lead to dehydrated jelly donuts, and it can lead to osteoporosis or osteopenia, fragile bones. Now, combine that with sitting and gaming all day long. Combine that with being in online school all day long, hunched forward looking at your computer. Combine nicotine with bad posture, being at a computer all day long, gaming or being in school, and you have a guaranteed recipe for neck pain and low back pain. That is a guaranteed problem that you're going to have. I could almost guarantee that problem. Now, a lot of people are going to say, but Dr. Frank, I had back pain way before I was using nicotine. And you probably did. But nicotine's not helping you. It's not going to make it better. It's only going to make it worse. So why keep doing it? Why continue doing it? Now, remember this. So many people say to me, and please understand something about nicotine. If you understand nothing from this video about nicotine, understand this. So many people ask me, will vaping damage my lungs? Who cares if vaping is going to damage your lungs? Why aren't you asking me about the damage that it causes to your back and the back pain and the neck pain? Why aren't you asking me about the damage that vaping causes to your arteries? Why aren't you asking me about the damage that vaping might cause to your heart or your neurological system, your nervous system? Why aren't you asking me about the damage that maybe vaping may one day show up to have on your kidneys or your liver? Now, why would I say such a thing when there's no proof that vaping damages those things? Because nicotine has been shown to damage each of those things. Nicotine damages your arteries. Nicotine damages your heart. Nicotine damages almost everything in your body. So even though I don't know that is vaping correlated, I know that nicotine is. The damage to your gut, the damage to your brain. We know nicotine causes damage, whether it's in a vapor, a cigarette, or dip. It doesn't matter. We know nicotine is the culprit. So all you guys asking me about your lungs, maybe you should be worried about other things. When I chewed tobacco and vaped, I was worried about throat cancer, lung cancer. I was worried about gum cancer. No one told me that I was going to get osteoporosis and osteopenia and have terrible joint pain and not be able to work out like I want to anymore. No one told me that nicotine could cause that. I was busy focused on my dentist telling me everything looks great every time I went. Terrible, terrible. So I want you guys to start to think differently. A lot of you guys are focused on your lungs. Maybe you should be focused on some other things that are going wrong. The last thing I want to say as well is stop focusing on the health consequences. One, addiction is always stronger than fear. Thing number two is if you really cared about your health, you wouldn't be doing this. And more importantly, most importantly, thing number three is the worst side effects of vaping, the worst side effects of nicotine addiction isn't the back pain that you're going to get. It's not the lung problems. It's not the kidney problems. If you smoke cigarettes, kidney cancer being one of the most common cancers from cigarettes on top of lung cancer. Bet you didn't know that. It's not those things. The worst part is the addiction and having to be a slave to something every day of your life, something that takes your time, your energy, your motivation, your drive, something that robs you of everything in life, an addiction. That is the worst part of being addicted, is being a slave to the addiction. Now, I'll catch you guys in the next video where I talk about if your lungs can heal from vaping. This is a banger video, so I hope you tune in. Stay tuned.